여보세요. 감사합니다. And welcome to another episode of K-pop news. This week, well, what was just announced anyways was some information about Twice and their world tour, their fifth world tour. Firstly, Twice has sold out the MetLife Stadium in New York. See, this article from Mediafine, which was from, it says 425, although it's 424 where I'm at, so it's kind of like in the future. But also in the past, because time is a fun thing. Twice sells out K-pop at MetLife Stadium in New York for the first time. Let's see. Girl group Twice has sold out its performances at MetLife Stadium in New York. JYP Entertainment posted the second planned poster of Twice's fifth world tour, Twice Fifth World Tour Ready to Be, on its official SNS channel at midnight on the 24th, and announced additional locations. According to the report, Twice will perform in 6 cities in Southeast Asia and Europe, starting in Singapore on September 2nd, local time, London on the 8th, Paris on the 11th, Berlin on the 14th, Bangkok, Thailand on the 23rd, and Bulacan, Philippines on the 30th. Europe is the first solo concert. Twice opened its new world tour at KSPO Dome in Seoul from April 15th to the 16th, and will visit Australia, Japan, and North America one after another from May. They actually have a really intense schedule. I mean, part one, like part two that they announced, all the traveling that they're going to do, mostly due to how these venues have to be scheduled, there's certain dates that they're actually available. And so between the management for scheduling stuff in JYPE, they'll communicate with the booking management for the venues and determine what dates are available. Because many of these venues, since they're stadiums and arenas, they are multi-purpose. They are there for concerts and sporting events, anything under the entertainment umbrella, and other things too, speaking events, sometimes conventions. There's all kinds of stuff. Let's see. Among them, the performance at MetLife Stadium in New York on July 6th quickly sold out after the general recovery was opened. Thanks to the explosive support, additional seats were open. Let me see. Twice, which was also sold out at high speed. So, okay. I think it's a bit of a translation there. I think that's just talking about the additional concert performance date, if they added. As a result, Twice set a record of 3 consecutive North American stadium performances sold out in July, following the encore performance at the Bank of California Stadium in Los Angeles back in May of 2022, and the SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles in June this year. Okay, so what they're saying is between 2022 and 2023 that they sold out 3 different stadium venues, right? And of course, I knew this was going to happen. I said it, before when the tour got announced. Twice continues to sell out not only in North America, but also in Australia, showing off its strong ticket power. Initially, it was scheduled to perform once in Sydney, Melbourne, Australia, Oakland, Houston, Chicago, and Toronto in Canada. But all tickets were sold out at the name time as the fan club pre-purchase was opened. And this is the actual poster for the part 2 of the world tour. And it's an interesting look. It's got the colors. The part 1 was more of a, what was it, like a silver and gold, I think. I've seen some of them that were that looked like everything was silver, and then some that looked like everything was gold. At least the font, you know what I mean? They kind of had a either a silver or a gold filter over what the imagery was on the posters. And this one, for the part 2 of the tour, is actually incorporating the Twice official group colors. And let's see, according to Soompi, for the first time since their debut, Twice will be embarking on a tour of Europe. On April 24th, Twice officially announced a new set of dates and cities for their ongoing Ready to Be World Tour, which kicked off in Seoul earlier this month and will take them to Australia, Japan, the US from May to July. After a brief 2-month break, Twice will go back on tour in September. After performing in Singapore on September 2nd, the group will head to Europe, where they will perform in London, Paris, and Berlin. Twice will then return to Asia for a concert in Bangkok on September 23rd and a show in Bulacan on September 30th. Now, it's been a crazy schedule for Twice. Like, this is one of the things Twice is in all groups work extremely hard. You know what I mean? Like, all groups put in a lot of work. At times, it's like they sort of defy physics. I don't understand how anybody has enough time. You know what I mean? And maybe it's just because of my age. You know, I think I remember being in my early 20s, and it seemed like days were long still. But at this point, the days are not as long at all. They kind of just sort of tick by really quickly. And I can't imagine, you know, moving at about 1,000,000 miles an hour like these groups must be, like Twice has to be, in order to accommodate all this stuff. Now, we had, since the beginning of the year, you know, we had a comeback. You have the pre-release with Moonlight Sunrise, and then you have the Set Me Free release, the actual album drop, Ready to Be. They went on all the Western promotional schedule, right? Like all the different stops, doing the different television shows, visiting different locations. And then we got we got the announcement of the tour, right? And as we drew near to that, there was some additional things. We got the announcement of the Misamo subunit. We got some behind the scenes footage from the first the pre-release, and then the single Set Me Free, some of the behind the scenes music video footage for that, and then we got the trailers for the Misamo subunits too, 4 of them in total. All of this stuff is just like my goodness, the pace, you know what I mean, to produce all of this content. And not just that, but you know, they're gonna have part 1 of the tour, right? And they're, as the article indicated, they're gonna have a roughly 2 months break. I don't think it's quite 2 months. I think it's gonna be a little bit shorter than that, right? But they might have a couple weeks in there to maybe get a little bit of rest. But in between, you're going to have the release of the Misamo subunit work, right? And then they're going to kick off part 2 after that. And there's some indications, if they decided to, they could do a part 3, a leg of the tour, adding some of the Latin American countries, and it would do really well. It would do really well. I'm going to look at some of the specifics on some of these venue locations, right? But if they decided to do something like that, it would be very successful. They're going to make, they're going to set some records. Like, they already have been this year, and they're going to, and it's quite impressive for, a third gen group to be so big and so like influential, to be so competitive, especially with the younger generation groups. But they're not stopping or slowing down at all, and it's just amazing the way that they handle all this stuff. Because just think of this, right? while they were getting ready for the part one of the tour, right? Their solo stages, right, which we checked out before. All of those stages had to be rehearsed. They had to have rehearsal time. So their schedule normally consists of and will regularly have the group rehearsal times, like, for all of the songs that they do together, right? And that includes choreography. That includes singing, like vocal rehearsals and things like that. It includes working with the stage setup. You can rehearse at the studio, but then you got to go to the venue and you got to step out on the stage and say, okay, how does this look up here? Is it going to work? Are we going to have enough space? Are we going to be able, to time this and that and the other? But, then they also had to, in their rehearsal schedules. So in other words, some days of the week they're going in and they're practicing together as a group. And then there's probably entire other days where, Momo has to go in there and practice her choreography with the backup dancers. Then Sana has to do it. Suyu had to do it. Mina had to do it. Nayeon had to do it. And there's no breaks, and it's full like they say, okay, we want to do these solo stages for the tour. As soon as rehearsing for that starts, it's full on. Like, it all has to be ready to go. The backup dancers have to be there. So shout out to even the backup dancers because they were in that schedule. They were in this rehearsal schedule for sure. They had to be there. There's no way that they couldn't, right? And so, man, it's just it's an incredible thing. Like, it's a lot of work. That's a ton of work. That's a ton of work, man. And they're somehow managing to pull it all off, But you have to think of these things in time. Like, they have to do it at a certain point so that it'll be ready by the time the tour actually starts and the performances actually start. And so, and it's just like, when do they get a break? You know what I mean? I don't, whoever's in charge of managing the schedules is probably underpaid, because it's like, like I said, it almost defies physics. So part two of the tour we see here. This is an intense schedule, man. All in the month of September, you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shows, and look at this. Basically, in 2 weeks' time, so 2 shows a week for 2 weeks, flying back and forth. From continent to continent, man. Like this is such a difficult schedule. And then about 10 days roughly, probably like a week, to get back over to the South Asian region for these last 2 shows. And they have plenty of time to add more performances. I wouldn't be surprised. And again, like, it really impressed. How are you going to do this? How are you going to squeeze another day in between some of these? That's grueling. That's an incredibly demanding performance schedule, right? Now, what I was super curious about, I wanted to look up some of the information about these different venues, right? So the O2 Arena, of course, this is fairly well known, which has a capacity of 20,000. That's probably for your concert type events, right? So this is the O2 in London. Pretty cool venue. It's got a really nice location. But look, this is Prince's stage. Damn, from 2007. Dang, son. Sold out, okay? So a sold out show at the O2, 20,000 people in attendance, right? Now let's hop over to the Accor Arena in Paris, right? And what we see, it's another, for concerts, the capacity is another 20,000, right? So 20,000 a piece. and in London, and then again in Paris, 20,000 each. Now, this arena here, right, Philippine Arena in Bulacan, this is insane because the capacity, let's see, where's the actual seating capacity? Okay, sold out 55,000 people. 55,000, that's a huge venue, man. And one thing I know from the Filipino onces on Twitter is that it's guaranteed to sell out. Like, there's no way this isn't going to sell out. There's no way they're not going to get 50,000 or 55,000 tickets sold, you know, if they go max capacity. Like, this will sell out. It will probably end up drawing some of the fans from India as well, because it might be, well, it's one of the ones that's actually practical to try and get to. So that these are some, you know, pretty good sized venues to be adding to part 2 of the tour. Now, I look up the 2 stadiums that they are now on record for actually having sold out, and we have the MetLife Stadium. Max capacity is 82,500 people. So it says here, originally intended to be the 85,000 seat main stadium for New York's bid in the 2012 Summer Olympics, right? 85,000. And it's sold out, man. And it's sold out. Of course, that probably, because of stage arrangements, setups and all that. So it's not going to be all 85,000 seats. But, you know, whatever the cap is on it to accommodate the stage and all of that. And then you also have SoFi Stadium with its capacity of 70,000, which is probably pretty close to what it actually will be. So these are some incredible numbers, man. These dates that were added for the part 2 of the tour, they're going to sell out. I don't know if they'll add more dates to it. I wouldn't be surprised if they get a couple more show dates in there. It will ultimately, really, it comes down to like the venue schedule, like if the actual location can accommodate it, you know. So hopefully they've sort of pre-gamed that, and made those considerations before the show actually goes along. And then, just for curiosity, I looked up the Globe Life field. This is where I'm going to actually be able to catch their concert, and it's a respectable 40,000, right? That's the capacity. That's the max capacity. And that's for sporting events, namely baseball. So it might be a little bit less than that considering the stage accommodations, but just to get an idea, roughly a ballpark, figure, it's about 40,000, so it's for sure going to be, something like 30,000, somewhere around there. But that's pretty crazy, man. Just think of some of these numbers, that they're putting up, and it's gonna be a successful tour for certain. There's some of the things that I've seen on, at least on the Twitter platform. Twice hasn't been to the Latin American countries in a while. They could, since all of these dates are happening in September, right? So let's think of this in terms of the rest of the year. September, what do we have? Just the last quarter, right? October, November, December. They could do a October, November part 3 of the tour in some Latin American locations. I mean, because the fans, you get an idea, like a sense for how popular they are in different regions from some of these platforms. YouTube definitely showed me like, wow, because I get people who watch and will comment and from all over the place, right? Like from everywhere, about different groups, but definitely about Twice as well. And it's like there's no region where they don't have some sort of popularity or following. You know what I mean? There really isn't. There really isn't. And if they decided to add another venue or another part to the tour, to include some of those Latin American areas, like some of the venues that are available in some of the countries, Mexico, Brazil, maybe some South American dates. So they would do extremely well. They're going to clean up, man. Like on this tour, this is gonna. I'm super curious. You know what I mean? I just want to. You can only speculate now, but the numbers at the end of this year, right? Just the numbers at the end of this year, 2023, are going to be like, they're going to be insane. They're going to look back and say, man, it'll probably be not. It'll happen again, but it's going to be a while, right, before like another group kind of comes along to match, the bar, right? Like and a lot of it just has to do with the grind. A lot of it's just the work, the absolute grueling schedule and pacing and the demand, that you really have to just live it. You got to give everything to it, and then it will be possible. And it'll probably happen again, but it might take some time. You know what I mean? But it's impressive, man. It's impressive. It's a very cool thing. I just think it's pretty incredible, everything that they have accomplished so far, and we'll see. I knew this year was going to be very, very big for the group, and we'll see what next year has in store. Like I said, it's a grueling schedule, man. Everything from the beginning of the year, the releases, the tour announcements, the promotions, the subunit announcements, tour starts, subunit drops, tour continues. They definitely have earned their break, at the end of the year when it comes around. I hope this year's Healing December is really, really incredible for you know what I mean? Like they're gonna need to take some time to recover, right? And it's well deserved, you know what I mean? And it'll be fun. It'll be fun to get some Time to Twice episodes back, right? Because everyone's already kind of jonesing for that. Everybody's already kind of missing Time to Twice. You got to kind of go back and watch some of your favorite episodes from the past right now. Between the sparse bits of content that we do get, such as behind the scenes stuff and whatever little extras that happen to come about, everything is an opportunity to generate more content. So there's always something to enjoy. And but they all seem, first of all, the Seoul concert was a great success. So they're all happy, and they're all probably feeling pretty good, pretty dialed in right now. Ready to go on this tour and get everything started and have a really good year. And we'll be able to look back on it. It'll be pretty cool. Healing December. I think it's going to be a good one this year. So that's all I wanted to take a look at today, was some of the updates with Twice and the tour. Things are definitely moving. uh like it's gonna be here so quick, man. It's a April, May, June. It's less than 2 months until they're gonna stop by here so that I can check them out and go to the concert. And I mean, it's just gonna fly by, man. I think this entire year is gonna go fairly quickly. So just hold on, just hold on to your seat, man, because it's gonna happen. You know what I mean? It's gonna come, and you just gotta be ready. You know what I mean? So that's it for this episode of K-pop news. Just had to check in with OT9, favorite group. We'll always be supportive. And so that's it. Until next week, we'll see what other developments might happen in the industry. And until then, just take care. I got some reactions coming up this week for sure. I definitely want to crank some more out. Let's kind of pick up the pace a little bit. Right now, where I'm at, I'm super tired because I basically work over the weekend. I work a little bit during the week, but then I also mainly work over the weekend, talking about my job, not the channel content. And at this time of year, we're having a kind of a festival, like the local sort of regional annual type of festival. And in the area where the festival is normally held downtown, kind of on the periphery of it. And so it's been quite hectic because there's a lot of people traffic in the area, and at night, which is when I work, I pull the overnight shifts, and it gets interesting, man. Think Mardi Gras, or you know what I mean, like some big event that lasts for a couple of weeks and takes over a lot of the streets downtown. Everything kind of shifts gears for the sake of this festival celebration type of setting. So on the weekends, especially when I'm on the clock, there's a lot of revelers and partygoers and strange sort of chaotic types who are out looking for all kinds of things. So it's been kind of hectic lately, but I really would like to get some more stuff done this week. So that's what I'm going to turn to now. Until next time, thank you very much for hanging out with me here, and we'll see you then. Annyeong.